The world has always envied my splendid birth. Born into the distinguished Fu clan of Jiangnan, I was praised as the ninth legitimate young lady of a noble house. Since childhood, I have been well-read, proficient in accounting and strategies, and disciplined by boudoir teachings. Gentle, dignified, intelligent, and poised, I was the most standard and perfect noble lady in the eyes of the mundane world. People said I was born blessed, with an illustrious family background and exquisite upbringing, with a brilliant and smooth future paved for me. I merely needed to be obedient and gentle, marry a fine husband, live in peace, and enjoy lifelong prosperity. Yet no one knew that this splendid attire and glorious family reputation were never heavenly blessings, but cold cages that confined me for half my life, and magnificent shackles used by the world to discipline, manipulate, and sacrifice me. Once, I believed in rituals and morals, abided by all duties, valued kinship and cherished decency, becoming the most dignified plaque of glory for the Fu family. Since childhood, I mastered all the accomplishments of a noble lady, sensible and well-mannered, prudent and strategic, never making a single mistake or overstepping the rules. I thought noble clans valued kinship, etiquette, and morality above all else. I thought treating others with sincerity would earn kindness in return. I thought obedience and forbearance would protect myself and bring peace to the whole family. I upheld the rules of the Fu family, guarded its reputation, restrained my edge and angles, and lived exactly as others expected me to, believing this would grant me a smooth and worry-free life. I once trusted that good deeds reap good rewards, that human hearts are warm, and that blood kinship and marital promises are the most enduring bonds. I treated clansmen with humility and gentleness, respected my elders, yielded to my peers, and held full trust and endless expectations for Yu Jingshu, my betrothed. I believed this well-matched marriage was the worldly perfect destination, the reliance for my peaceful remaining years, and the best ending for my splendid life. I waited quietly for marriage, cultivated my temperament earnestly, and looked forward to peaceful days of ordinary fireworks, resolving to be a virtuous wife and a decent woman, completing a flawless life in the eyes of the world. Yet I was utterly naive, misbelieving the warmth of clan affection, worldly morality, and the purity of human hearts. The coldest feelings in the world never come from strangers, but from blood relatives. The deepest hurts never come from external storms, but from the calculations hidden in decent mansions. The most fragile vanity is never worldly glory, but the so-called kinship and marital affection preached by others. The glorious Fu clan seemed elegant and prosperous on the surface, yet rotten and greedy inside, ruled entirely by self-interest and desire. All decent etiquette was merely a fig leaf for clansmen to seek private gains and sacrifice women's lives. All kinship was cold calculation based on weighing pros and cons. I never strove for favor or profit, never hindered anyone's future. Yet precisely because I was outstanding, intelligent, capable, and extraordinary as a legitimate daughter, blocking the selfish paths and worldly glory of collateral clansmen, I became a disposable pawn that the entire family could frame, abandon, and sacrifice at will. Fu Zuoshi, my hypocritical and vicious sister-in-law, envied my excellence and plotted secretly to fabricate charges against me. Fan Yak, my once intimate childhood friend, betrayed our friendship out of selfish jealousy, pretending closeness while pushing me into the abyss. Yu Jingshu, my trusted fiancé, was cowardly and cold-hearted, abandoning our engagement and smearing my innocence for his own family status and future, allowing me to be ruined and driven to desperation without a single hesitation. Groundless slander and fabricated rumors easily shattered my lifelong innocence and dignity. Without any investigation or justification, I was confined and convicted by my own family despite my complete innocence. Elders who once treated me kindly turned ruthless and cold overnight. Clansmen who once lived in harmony with me fell to gloat and stand by indifferently. My closest friend betrayed me without mercy. In that moment, I thoroughly understood how fragile and cold so-called noble warmth, blood kinship, and marital promises are in the face of selfish interests. What despaired me most was never external slander, but the heartless cruelty of my own kin. To preserve the family's reputation and worldly stability, they chose to sacrifice me without hesitation. They ignored my innocence, trampled my grievances, and pushed all crimes and stigma upon me. They even imprisoned me in the ancestral temple and forced poisoned wine upon me, attempting to erase my existence completely, using my life to silence public opinion and fulfill others' futures. Isolated and helpless, no one believed my innocence. No one defended me. No one sheltered me. A lifetime of gentleness and compliance ended in total failure, ruin, and mortal danger. On the verge of death, I swallowed filthy swill to induce vomiting and saved myself with desperate courage, fighting for a sliver of survival from the brink of hell. On that day, I abandoned all the dignity and tenderness of a noble lady, cast off all ritual restraints and reserve, disregarding embarrassment and filth merely to live. I awakened completely that day, shattering my foolish and docile former self. I finally realized that respect from the world never comes from gentleness and obedience, but from inner confidence and sharpness, from the ability to protect oneself. The most unreliable things in life are never kinship, marriage, family status, or decency, but the peace and glory dependent on others. The only one who can rescue oneself from mud and despair, resist storms, and stand firm in the world is oneself. Gentleness never wins kindness. Yielding never guarantees protection. Forbearance never earns sincerity, and compliance never brings stability. The cannibalistic etiquette, hypocritical noble families, and cold human hearts trap women in the world, treating their tenderness and kindness as weakness to bully and abandon, and their splendid lives as bargaining chips for family games and interest exchanges. The rules I abided by all my life finally confined me. The kinship I cherished finally betrayed me. The perfection I expected finally destroyed me. Escaping death in desperation and fleeing in panic, I abandoned my glorious identity as a noble daughter of the Fu family and shattered all labels and shackles imposed by the world. I was no longer the docile and manipulated Miss Fu who relied on her family to live. I was Fu Tingyun, reborn from the mud and hell, striving for my own life in despair. Falling from the clouds in immortal dust, I lost my family glory, clan protection, marital perfection, and worldly dignity. Yet I completely broke free from the cage of etiquette, class shackles, and emotional bondage, finally living freely, soberly, and uprightly for myself. Wandering through chaotic times and enduring endless storms, I took root in mud and grew through hardships. Once I lived in a luxurious mansion, clothed in silk and fed delicacies, ignorant of worldly wind and rain, trapped in a splendid dream woven by others. Now I have traveled through mortal dust, endured displacement and dangers, and thoroughly seen through worldly hypocrisy, cold human hearts, class prejudice, and absurd reality. I abandoned noble reserve, worldly vanity, and futile obsessions. I can wield a brush to calculate accounts, strategize, perceive human nature, and break deadlocks, while also bending down to endure hardships, face storms, withstand tribulations, and survive desperate situations. Tenderness is my upbringing, backbone is my original heart, forbearance is my wisdom, and resolution is my armor. It was also during these displaced and turbulent days that I met Zhao Ling. The world deemed us utterly mismatched, vastly different in status and class. I was a fallen noble lady stripped of all glory. He was a grassroots salt smuggler wandering the Zhonghu with a heavy past. Judging by family status and class, the world thought him vulgar and infamous, and me ruined and disgraced, claiming we could never be compatible. Yet, after enduring countless storms and desperate situations, I have long seen through the vanity of worldly splendor and the absurdity of class hierarchy, knowing best what true sincerity, kindness, integrity, and salvation truly are. Many well-dressed people in the world are cold, hypocritical, selfish, and vicious, while those wandering in mortal dust often hold sincere, magnanimous, righteous, and loyal hearts. Seemingly unruly, sharp, and tainted with Zhonghu roughness, Zhao Ling is essentially sincere, open-minded, upright, and pure at heart. He has seen my most embarrassed, helpless, and desperate moments, witnessed me stripping off all splendid halos and decent reserve, yet never looked down on me with the slightest contempt or perfunctoriness. Others loved my glamorous and perfect noble identity. Only he loved my complete soul, resilient, sober, sharp, and righteous after countless hardships. He understands all my grievances, sees all my hidden scars, pities all the hardships I endured, and respects all my persistence and original heart. He never persuades me to compromise gently, never forces me to yield or show weakness, never resents my sharpness, and never tires of my sobriety and resilience. While the world expects women to be docile, obedient, and dependent, only Zhao Ling allows me to be independent, self-possessed, sharp, free-growing, and true to myself. He shelters me through chaotic storms, guides me through desperate lost paths, believes me amid public slander, and fulfills all my sobriety, backbone, resilience, and magnanimity. Our fate began with a desperate encounter, deepened through shared hardships, and settled in mutual redemption. No class weighing, no interest calculation, no worldly bondage, no illusory romance. We are each other's glimmer in darkness, stability in chaos, certainty in wandering, and salvation in despair. In him, I found unprecedented magnanimity, sincerity, and unwavering companionship. In me, he found rare sobriety, transparency, bravery, and kindness hidden in noble mansions. Two souls tormented by mortal wind and rain and betrayed by the world warmed each other, supported each other, and walked side by side, breaking free from fate's shackles, overturning class prejudice, and resisting worldly rules. I once thought blooming splendor meant illustrious family status, prosperous glory, smooth marriage, and worldly perfection. After half a lifetime of storms and mortal ups and downs, I finally understand that true blooming splendor never means living as a perfect, obedient, and glorious figure in the eyes of others. Never means stability and glory gained by relying on others. It means breaking all shackles, escaping all restraints, overturning all prejudices, being reborn in despair, standing firm in mud and blooming freely amid wind and rain, becoming independent, sober, resilient, and magnanimous. A truly splendid life never relies on family gifts, others' fulfillment, or worldly compromise, but on self-reliance, self-control, self-achievement, and self-perfection. I no longer cling to others' recognition, no longer covet past vanity, no longer wrong my original heart to cater to the world, and no longer adhere to feudal ritual decency. Betrayed by kinship, disappointed by marriage, sacrificed by family, and disciplined by the world, I have never been crushed by suffering, dimmed by darkness, or worn down by hardship. I remain gentle yet sharp, kind yet principled, loving yet sober and transparent. I personally severed the illusory fetters of the Fu family, broke free from the quarrelsome cage of the inner mansion, bid farewell to my foolish and docile past, and shattered the worldly fate template imposed on women. I am no longer an accessory of clan status, a pawn of family interests, an ornament of the world, or the expectation of others. I am merely Fu Tingyun, unique, sober, self-possessed, resilient, magnanimous, and living solely for myself. I protect myself with wisdom, establish myself with integrity, overcome hardships with perseverance, and love sincerely with a pure heart. Unattached, uncompromising, unhumble, unblind, I have become my own reliance, my own confidence, and my own splendid rivers and mountains. Looking back on my journey, full of thorns, mud, scars, and storms, every step was growth and every tribulation was rebirth. The grievances I endured, the desperations I survived, the hardships I suffered, and the betrayals I encountered never defeated me, but tempered my temperament, polished my integrity, and matured my transparency. That catastrophic disaster allowed me to thoroughly see through human hearts and worldly vanity, breaking free from fate's shackles. Those displaced chaotic days stripped me of naivety and foolishness, letting me live true to my original heart. Without falling to the dust in the past, I could never stand tall and bloom today. Without being covered in scars once, I could never be sober and magnanimous now. I have finally grown into my favorite appearance, gentle yet resolute, sober yet resourceful, resilient yet measured, sincere yet radiant. No longer confined to deep mansions, ritual doctrines, romantic fetters, or past regrets. I can settle in mortal fireworks and treat the world gently while also standing firm against storms and bearing responsibilities alone. I deeply understand that the best destination for a woman is never marrying a good man and gaining stable reliance, but self-perfection, self-abundance, self-independence, and self-blooming. Affection that adorns prosperity is all grace. Companionship that aids in adversity is all salvation. Yet what truly supports a lifetime of walking is always inner resilience, clear vision, and self-reliant confidence. For the rest of my life, I cast off half my life's shackles and live up to my original heart. standing side by side with Zhao Ling, no longer dependent, inferior, or accommodating. We walk equally, sincerely, and resolutely through storms, guard the years together, and move toward the future hand in hand, breaking worldly prejudice, crossing class gaps, and escaping destined fate. We abide by each other in mortal fireworks, accompany each other in chaotic wandering, and fulfill each other in ordinary days. The world chases lifelong prosperity and splendor, while I only seek an unregretful original heart, magnanimous days, lifelong freedom, and self-fulfilled perfection. My blooming splendor has nothing to do with family status, vanity, the world, or others, but only with self-growth, persistence, and rebirth. After traversing thousands of storms, I finally bloom to the fullest. From now on, rivers and mountains are magnanimous, years are peaceful, my original heart remains unchanged, and the rest of my life is utterly splendid.